to you about the discrepancies and differences between the US terms for crochet terms and the UK terms. For some reason, they don't align as the same thing, and the same exact stitches are called different names, but still names from the other one, but they mean different things. So basically, how you determine what part of the world you're in, which uses which crochet patterns by default, usually is that if you're in a cricket playing country like the UK or Australia, you use the UK terms. If you think of a bug when you hear the word cricket, you probably use the US term. So like Canada, America, we use the US terms. So obviously there's exception to those rules, obviously because the internet is a thing and a lot of the craft community now is online, so you can access crochet patterns from anywhere in the world, and this sometimes makes it confusing, especially if you're following it along to the T and you realize that what you're ending up with doesn't look anything like what's in the picture. A lot of times this is why, and sometimes there's hints, sometimes it's on a UK server, sometimes there's terms in the pattern that are a pretty good tip-off that this is a British pattern and not an American pattern. So when in doubt, you can generally write to the pattern author and ask them which version it is, and they'll tell you. But usually you can figure it out without that. But anyway, so I'm going to talk about both terminology itself and differences in the sizes of crochet hooks in US versus UK. So anyway, in the actual terminology, what we know as a single crochet stitch in British crochet is called a double crochet. Why? I have no idea. If anybody can answer that for me, I'd love to know. It's like, if a single crochet is a double crochet in British crocheting, what is their single crochet, or do they just not use it? From what I've seen, they don't use the term single crochet, but I could be wrong. Like I said, feel free to correct me if I'm missing something here, but from everything I've been able to tell and everything I've read on this, basically not a thing. So, in American terminology, we use the term half double crochet. In British terminology, that's a half treble. Now, for US standards, if you did a half treble, that'd be a much larger stitch than that. So, the terminology makes a big difference here. In US terms, a double crochet is what the British call a treble or a triple. In US terminology, what we call a treble or a triple is the UK's double treble or triple. Yeah, you can see where the discrepancy makes a difference, right? Our idea of a double treble or triple is their idea of a triple treble or triple. Would that be a triple triple? I don't know. It depends on what the pattern writer calls it, because some people call it a treble, some call it a triple. What we call a skipped stitch, the Brits call a missed stitch. And if you see that terminology in your pattern, it's a pretty good tip-off that it's a British one, not an American one. What we call checking your gauge, the British call checking your tension. It means the same thing. And additionally, what the Americans refer to as yarning over, the British refer to as yarn over hook. That's another thing that if you see it in a pattern, if you see the initials YOH instead of just YO, that's a pretty good tip-off that it's a British pattern. So that's about as many of the terminology ones that I know of that there's a discrepancy on. But now with the hooks, whereas Americans tend to measure our crochet hooks by letter names, the Brits use numbers, and this is why you end up with crochet hooks that has the letter / the number. See, I used to think there was just very, very specific sizes to where it's like, this is an I9. No, it's a size I hook or a size 9 hook. Yeah. Like, I'll show you guys right here on this one in particular. This is why I used that example. This is an I or a 9. And that means that it's a 5.5 millimeter. Just off the top of my head, I know that What is a C hook for Americans is a number 2 hook for the Brits. A D hook here, and that's a 2.75 millimeter. A D hook here is a number 3 there and is a 3.25 millimeter. Letter E hook here is a number 4 hook there and is a 3.5 millimeter. There's a G hook. Wait, did I do F? I think I skipped F. Okay. In case I skipped it, because I honestly don't remember what I just said, if it was E or F. Pardon me if I'm repeating, but an F hook here is a number 5 hook there and is 3.75 millimeters. A G hook here is a number 6 there and is 4 millimeters. The next size up, apparently Americans don't have. So it's just a number 7 and it's 4.5 millimeters. Then there's a size H, which is a number 8 and is 5 millimeters. There is letter I, which is a size 9 there and is 5.5 millimeters. The most standard J hook here is a number 10 there and is a 6 millimeter. Letter K is a 10.5 there and is a 6.5 millimeter hook, and so on and so forth. There is about a gazillion more hooks than that, but those are your most basic ones that you will generally run into. There's bigger, there's smaller, but for all intents and purposes, that's what they are, and usually you can find both written right there on the grip on your hook. Some of them only have one or the other. Like, I've got some really old ones from the 70s that only have the letters on them. They were my mom's. But most modern ones, at least that I've bought, have both written on them. So, anyway, hopefully that clears some things up for some of you that were confused on this topic, because a lot of people go into crocheting not knowing there's a difference and learn this lesson the hard way, and then they start doubting all the things on all the patterns, and I did learn this the hard way a few years ago with one of the very first things I ever crocheted. I crocheted a pair of slippers, and I didn't know that it was British crochet instead of American crochet terminology, and I could not figure out why these damn things would not fit even though I was doing everything right. I changed the hook size about 1,000,000 times over until somebody finally mentioned, is it British or American crochet? And I was like, let me check. So I looked at the pattern, sure enough, it was .uk at the end of the URL, so I was like, oh, that's what I did wrong, okay. And most of us have had this moment at least once. I've had it more than once, especially when it's on an American server, but it's very much a British pattern. But yeah, this happens, it does happen, but it's easy enough to fix, especially once you figure it out, since you can just convert it. Sometimes it's easier to print out the pattern and then just take a pencil and write in the new terms and read it that way, instead of trying to keep track of it in your head and ending up mixing it up all over the place and not realizing you're doing it until it doesn't turn out right. But anyhow, hopefully this has been helpful to you guys. So anyway, as usual, if you like this video, click the like button. If you're not already and you'd like to be, click subscribe. Leave comments down below. Until next time.